Have you ever wondered what sparked the nuclear apocalypse in Fallout 76? What events led to the Great War? Let's take a stroll down the annals of history to find out. As we all know, the world of Fallout 76 is a post-apocalyptic one, but what triggered this apocalypse? It all began with a global energy crisis that was looming over the world. The Earth's resources were rapidly diminishing. Oil, uranium, and other valuable minerals were becoming scarce, and this scarcity sparked what came to be known as the Resource Wars. These wars were nothing short of catastrophic. Nations around the globe, desperate to secure their energy futures, engaged in brutal conflict over the control of these dwindling resources. The world was on the brink, with tensions escalating to an all-time high. The air was thick with the anticipation of a massive confrontation, and that's exactly what happened. On a fateful day in October, the 23rd day of the year, 2077 to be exact, the world held its breath. The standoff between nations had reached a boiling point, and then, the unthinkable happened. The nuclear exchange began. It was a conflict that lasted only 2 hours, but its effects were far-reaching and permanent. The world as we knew it changed forever. Cities turned to rubble, landscapes transformed into barren wastelands, and the very fabric of society was torn apart. The nuclear fallout that followed was devastating, rendering vast expanses of land uninhabitable. And just like that, in the span of 2 short hours, the world had plunged into chaos. The fallout was not just physical, it was political, social, and economic as well. The old world order had collapsed, and in its place a new, harsher reality had emerged. Thus, the stage was set for the post-apocalyptic world of Fallout 76. A world where the remnants of humanity struggled to survive amidst the ruins of a once thriving civilization. A world of uncertainty, danger, and endless adventure. A world that was born out of the ashes of the Great War. A world that, despite its harsh realities, holds a glimmer of hope for those brave enough to face its challenges. In the wake of such catastrophe, where did the survivors find refuge? Welcome to Vault 76. In the aftermath of nuclear devastation, the survivors had to seek sanctuary and hope in the most unlikely of places. Vault 76, a beacon amidst the ruins, offered just that. This was no ordinary shelter. It was a control vault, a cornerstone in the grand scheme of Vault-Tech's ambitious and sometimes sinister social experiment. Unlike many of its counterparts, Vault 76 was designed to open a mere 20 years after the nuclear war. Its purpose? To house America's best and brightest, the cream of the crop, the ones destined to shine even in the darkest of times. This was not a mere bunker to ride out the storm, but a cradle of hope, nurturing the seeds of a new America within its steel womb. Vault 76 was not just a shelter, but a promise of a future, a pledge to rebuild the United States from the ashes of the old world. It was a testament of human resilience and determination. Inside its walls, the dwellers were not mere survivors, but torchbearers of civilization, the architects of the new world. Their task was not easy. The world outside was a harsh and unforgiving place, filled with danger at every turn. But they were not ordinary people. They were the best and the brightest, armed with knowledge, skills, and an indomitable spirit. They were the ones who would brave the new world, who would take the first steps into the unknown, who would lay the foundation of a new civilization. Vault 76 was more than a vault. It was a symbol of hope, a beacon in the dark, a testament to human resilience. It was the cradle of a new world, the birthplace of a new era. It was the heart of a new America, beating strong and steady amidst the ruins of the old. The Vault 76 dwellers were the chosen ones, the pioneers tasked with the monumental challenge of rebuilding. Imagine waking up to find that you are one of the last humans on Earth. It's Reclamation Day. Reclamation Day, a pivotal moment in the Fallout 76 narrative, marks the day when the doors of Vault 76 swung open, releasing its dwellers into a world that had drastically changed. The Vault, which had served as a refuge for the best and brightest, now became the launch pad for a new mission, the reclamation and rebuilding of society. On this day, those who had been secured within the Vault found themselves standing on the threshold of a brave new world, armed with a dream and a daunting task. Their mission was not just to survive, but to reclaim the lost world, to reclaim the remnants of society, and most importantly, to reclaim hope. The dwellers of Vault 76 were not just survivors, they were pioneers. They were the first to step into the post-apocalyptic wasteland, the first to face the stark reality of what the world had become. But they were also the first to dream of what it could be again. Yet, the path to reclamation was not an easy one. The world outside was harsh and unforgiving, filled with dangers and challenges that tested their resilience and resourcefulness. They faced mutated creatures, unpredictable weather, and the harsh reality of scarcity. But despite these challenges, they persevered. They built, they fought, and they survived, driven by the spirit of reclamation. And it was through their struggle that they learned a valuable lesson. Reclamation was not just about rebuilding structures or reclaiming land. It was about more than just survival. It was about the rebirth of humanity, the rekindling of hope, and the relentless pursuit of a better tomorrow. So as we delve deeper into the lore of Fallout 76, let's remember the significance of Reclamation Day. It was a day of new beginnings, a day of daunting challenges, but also a day of immense hope. Reclamation Day was not just about survival, but about the rebirth of humanity. In a world turned upside down, who would rise to power? Let's examine the factions of Appalachia. In the wake of the Great War, 4 distinct groups emerged, each with their own origins, beliefs, and conflicts. First, we have the Responders, a group largely made up of former police officers, firefighters, and medical professionals. They dedicated themselves to helping survivors, providing medical care, food, and training. Their mission was simple: help as many people as possible survive in the harsh new world. Next, we find the Brotherhood of Steel. This faction, originating from the US military, aimed to preserve technology and knowledge for the future. Strict, disciplined, and often seen as isolationist, their focus on the larger picture sometimes put them at odds with the immediate needs of everyday survivors. Then we have the Enclave, remnants of the pre-war US government and military. Operating from the shadows, the Enclave had a singular goal: to restore the old world order, no matter the cost. Their methods were often ruthless, and their vision of a restored America left little room for those who didn't fit their mold. Finally, we encounter the Raiders. These desperate survivors banded together to take by force what they couldn't gain otherwise. The Raiders were a diverse group, united only by their willingness to do whatever it took to survive. These factions, each unique and distinct, found themselves in a constant struggle for resources and power. The Responders tried to keep the peace, while the Brotherhood of Steel collected technology. The Enclave pursued their shadowy agenda, and the Raiders fought for survival. Their conflicts shaped the landscape of Appalachia, creating a complex web of alliances, betrayals, and battles. In the struggle for power and survival, these factions shaped the new world. What if the nuclear fallout was not the only threat to humanity's survival? Enter the Scorch Plague. Our tale takes a chilling turn as we delve into the eerie origins of the Scorch Plague. This malevolent disease was not a byproduct of the nuclear war, but rather an unforeseen consequence of a pre-war science experiment gone horribly awry. A biological agent intended to control pests mutated into a virulent plague after exposure to the nuclear fallout, forever altering the landscape of Appalachia. The Scorch Plague was no ordinary disease. It had a horrifying ability to mutate living creatures into hostile entities known as the Scorched. These were not just mindless monsters, they retained enough cognitive function to use weapons and coordinate attacks, making them a formidable threat to the survivors. But the terror didn't end there. The Scorch Plague had an apex predator, the Scorched Beasts. Imagine, if you dare, a bat-like creature of immense size and strength, mutated by the plague into something nightmarish. These beasts didn't merely spread the plague, they were its primary vectors, their piercing screams capable of calling the Scorched to their aid. The Scorch Plague was more than just a mutation, it was an ecosystem of horror. It created a grim symbiosis between the Scorched and the Scorched Beasts, linking them in a shared, monstrous existence. This disease didn't merely kill its victims, it enslaved them, turning them into puppets of its will. And so, the Scorch Plague added another layer of danger to the already perilous world of Fallout 76. It wasn't enough to survive the nuclear fallout, the hostile factions, the environmental hazards. Now, one had to contend with a plague that could turn friend into foe, beast into monster, and the already treacherous world into a nightmare. The Scorch Plague added another layer of danger to the already perilous world of Fallout 76.